Across the world. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys in this episode of Audio Dojo how to create space in a mix and really what creating space in a mix means. Now theoretically there are two dimensions of a mix. There's the left and right, which is panning. You can get that by panning. And up front and backwards. And that's really what elements are in your face and what elements are pushed back into the mix that you can kind of feel as if you're hearing them in a cathedral, an auditorium, smaller room. Anything really like that will help you kind of create the sense of virtual sonic space. Not to sound overly nerdy. So putting these effects like reverb and delays on any instrument can help the mix sound more organic and puts the song in its own virtual space. By organic, it kind of means that it doesn't sound like it was just made on a computer or just recorded in a studio. It kind of sounds like it was something. It just sounds real, I guess is the way to put it. I know audio engineering has a lot of adjectives involved in it, but this is something where if you put a sense of space in it, it sounds more professional. And that's really what you want at the end of the day. No matter what adjective I use, you need to sound more professional. You can even pan reverbs and delays left and right to create a sense of width. Now, what this means is, it's going back on the last episode where you can bus over like the reverbs and delays. If you bus them to their own track and then you pan one reverb to the left and one to the right, you can make just the reverb sound wider while keeping the dry actual audio file still in your face, which creates an interesting effect. But it's really cool, and you could definitely do it, but overdoing the effect, again, will hurt your mix and make it sound muddy. You have to find the right balance in audio engineering to make it so your mix sounds right. It can't sound like things are just, you put effects on the instruments to just put it on, you know what I mean? You need to have those effects for a specific reason and know that reason even before you start mixing it. Now, before I continue, I'm going to play you guys a really quick song. Obviously, I've been using Linkin Park trackouts for this entire tutorial series, kind of. But to remember that this is Crawling by Linkin Park, and this is a Grammy-winning song. So I'm going to play the keys in this right now, right over here. And you're going to kind of hear the sense of space this audio engineer used to put these elements not far back in the mix, but give them a sense of their own area and space that they're in, and everything's kind of built around it. It's the main catchy part of this song. So I'm gonna boost this up a little bit. Now you can hear the small delay on it. You can hear it's in a small reverb. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. We're going to go back to the hook. Now this kind of sounds like a little children's toy box or something, but it goes to show that you can really do anything and put reverb on it and it'll sound good. Now don't take what I just said the wrong way. You can make it sound good, but don't overdo it. I cannot stress enough to not overdo it, because when I first started, I was overdoing the shit out of it. I would just put so much reverb and delay on stuff that it would just completely ruin the mix just to put effects on it. Use effects for the reason. Don't use effects just to put effects on it. Now, a good rule of thumb is to keep your drums up front in the mix, because that's the thing that's keeping the tempo. Mix around the drums, kind of. So when they're up front in the mix, anything you kind of want back in the mix, you can mix that around the drums. It's a good way to kind of hear what your track's going to sound like. Learning the pockets of drums is a good idea so you can find out what makes them punch the most. Now, mixing around the drums allows you also to keep in mind what the drum should sound like during the entire mixing process. A lot of people underestimate the real importance of the drums when you're mixing and first starting out mixing. You need to have the drums really, not even necessarily punch like a dubstep song would, but like just make sure you feel the song. The drums are really what allow you to just vibe to and headbang and move to songs. So really keep that in mind. Keep those up front in the mix. Normally, always. I mean, there's reasons you would put it back in the mix, but for the most part, keep them up front. Adding space in the mix should happen in the mixing stage and not the mastering stage. Another thing I messed up when I first started, reverb and echo on the master chain can muddy up a mix, because obviously if every single element in the mix is just getting a ton of reverb, even a little reverb on it, and just delay, excuse me, you don't want it to sound like everything just has reverb and delay on it. For obvious reasons. I mean, you can do it, but then just look what it sounds like. You'll automatically know what I'm talking about. I can't really even think of any songs that have reverb and delay on the entire master track, so yeah, listen to me on this one. Some sounds would sound great with reverb and delay, just like these keys that I just showed you from this Linkin Park song. Even the guitars, vocals have it on it. Others might not as much. I know a lot of songs, obviously the drums are a little bit more dry, but if it's kind of like... The best way I would say to understand the reverb and delay is just that some more organic sounds sound better with more reverb and delay, and stuff. A lot of EDM songs sounds good with it, but it's easier to go overboard on those EDM songs with reverb and delay because you really have to be careful with it because it's not naturally an organic sound. So if you were to put the reverb and delay on it, it might keep it from sounding the way it should as an EDM song. But really, just trust your ear, because I'm just giving you guys forewarning what can sound bad, but again, everything can sound good if you do it right. Trust your ear. Trust your ear more than me. If I tell you something and then your ear tells you that it sounds better, regardless of what I'm saying, then do it. I'm just saying most of the time, it'll sound good with these techniques and ideas in your head. Again, it'll come with practice, just doing the reverb and delay. You'll see what type of stuff you can bust reverbs over to their own tracks, cut out the bottom end of the reverb, so you're only getting a high end reverb on a track that has low end on it still. Kind of helps to add clarity and stuff. Really just play around with it. Play around with even the stock effects as far as your DAW goes, like Pro Tools, Logic, Fruity Loops, Ableton, Cubase, all that good shit. Really just play around with it, because if you play around with it, you end up kind of learning more stuff than just watching YouTube tutorials too. But, keep watching YouTube tutorials because I get views and subscribers, and that's awesome. Only watch my YouTube tutorials. No. But, yeah, so if you guys have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments. Email me, private message me, whatever you really want. You can give me at engineersongs@dexterskills.com. I'll give a link at the bottom. Really let me know what you guys want of these tutorials, because I'm here to help you guys with them. So, yeah, thanks. I'll see you guys in the next episode.